Hello, I'm Kate. I'm the product manager here at Quicke, and today we're going to be talking about our taster letterbox and tasting along. So hopefully, for those of you who have bought a letterbox, it's arrived and you've got it out the fridge ready. But for anyone who hasn't, don't worry, this will be saved to the Instagram page so you can taste along at another date. So just so for those that haven't seen it before, this is the taster letterbox. So it's a variety of different cheeses we've got in there that sort of showcase the different flavours that we do here at Quicke. Great. So we're going to start off tasting our mature Clothbound cheddar. So this is our flagship cheddar. We make it here on the farm using our own cow's milk. So that's from our 600 herd of Quicke cows that are grass fed on the luscious pastures of the Devon countryside around us. So we hand make it using starter cultures and rennet, and this creates the curds and whey. Once that's drained off, we then hand cheddar it. So we've got a lovely team in the dairy, and they work incredibly hard to get our cheese to the amazing flavours they are. So they hand cheddar it, and once that process has been done, the curds are all cut up, and we then add Cornish sea salt. So they have to work incredibly hard to fork that through the curds. So that's we've found, since using Cornish sea salt, we've found that it's actually made it more of a kind of brighter flavour and texture, which is great, but it has meant that the dairy team have had to work harder to get it evenly distributed across the curd. So once the curd goes into the moulds, so it gets put into the moulds and it's set overnight, it comes out, and we add this cloth, so this muslin cloth, and this is the beauty behind Clothbound cheddar. So this is what creates the incredible natural rinds on all our cheddars. So they're big 27 kilo cheeses, so they look something like this. This is a dummy, I'm not that great lifting. And so we store those in our nursery store for 3 months. After 3 months, so we hand turn those daily, and they're there, and the mould garden's sort of slowly starting to grow, and we get lovely different sort of shades of mould on the rind, and that's creating the natural rinds that we're after. After 3 months, it gets moved to our main store. So it sits here in the coolth of that store for another few months until 12 months when we grade it. So we have a team of grading, which kind of is myself, Mary, the store manager, and the dairy manager. And we go through and we grade, and at that point we're looking for a cheese that's either got a kind of brothy flavour, caramel flavour, or grassy. So once we've decided on those, then they get parcelled up and sent out to you guys. So think we've gone through that. So if everyone who has got some cheese wants to cut their wedge, so if you can see here, we've got the rind here, and you might have a piece that has rind across. So you want to cut a wedge so that you can taste from the nose to the rind, because it's a different flavour from the centre throughout. So if you just take a little bit off and taste the centre first. So hopefully it's up to room temperature, because it tastes a lot better when it's up to room temperature rather than coming straight from the fridge. So I always like to give it a bit of a smell. Okay. So for me, I'm getting quite a creamy, sort of umami flavour. There's a little bit of sharpness, and then it's got a caramel kind of flavour coming through at the end, with a touch of grassy. That's sort of that kind of fresh cut grass sort of flavour. So if you want to now try a bit from the middle, you'll see the difference from the flavour, hopefully. So for me, that's far more richer and savoury. So it's still got the creamy notes, but it's definitely got more of the savoury umami kind of flavours coming through, and then you're left with that caramel at the end. And then if you take a bit just behind the rind, so you can eat the rind, it's perfectly edible. It's great if you put it in like stews and risottos. It adds a real kind of earthy texture, flavour to it. So if you taste a little bit behind the rind, so I'm not going to eat the rind itself, but just behind it. So it's a lot stronger, a lot more earthy, and you almost get like the horseradish kind of notes coming through. So if you try our vintage, it's very strong horseradish notes, but with all our cheeses, towards the rind you get a lovely earthy flavour. So we will move on then to, hopefully everyone's enjoyed that, we'll move on to our double Deventure. So double Deventure we use and we create in the exact same way that we create our cheddars. It's our take on a double Gloucester. So we use a natural colourant called a natto. It's a berry that we get ground up, and it comes in a liquid form for us, and we add it in to the vat at the same time that we add our own milk from here on the farm and the starter cultures. And we find that when we add it at that point, we get a really nice kind of consistent colour throughout. So it's what creates this lovely orangey look to it. So this is a lot younger cheese, so we only store this for 6 months. So it's got a lot more kind of milder flavour, I suppose, than our mature. So if again it's the same, so we've got the rind here, and then you could get rind along the sides depending on the cut you've got. And again, this is all natural and perfectly edible to eat, no problem. So if we taste a bit from the nose, so to me that's smelling quite lactic. Yeah, I get kind of a hit of kind of lactic fresh milk. It's quite creamy, and then there's sort of almost chicory notes that kind of come in through the end. And let's try a bit more in the middle. So it's still got that lactic flavour coming through, but it's a bit more creamier. There's a bit more sort of intensity to the cream, sort of like the top of the cream of a milk, like full fat milk. And then if we just go towards the end again, because this is the beauty of a Clothbound cheese, is the different flavours throughout. So it's a bit more stronger in terms of the chicory notes, and it's a bit more earthy for me. Hopefully you guys are getting all these flavours, but it's all individual. So if you're not getting them, it's not that you're doing it wrong. It's, you know, it's individual tastes. Right, so we're going to move on then to our elderflower. So the elderflower we create in the exact same way that we do our cheddars. So at the point where we're hand forking in the Cornish sea salt, we also add in dried elderflowers. So hopefully you guys can see those. So we get these from local producer that gathers it across the southwest. So they have quite a job once all the blossoms have come out, and they pick them all off and dry them. And so we use those in the curd. So once the curd's been created, we hand fork it through. And again, the dairy team have quite a job because they have to really, really fork it through in order to get a lovely distribution of elderflower petals. So you can see the sort of speckledness across here. That's the elderflower petals. So yeah, in order to get kind of a nice even distribution and it not all staying in one place, it's yeah, it's quite difficult, but they've mastered it. Right, so we give this one a go. So this is very, you can smell the elderflower already, and it's almost sort of quite citrusy in flavour. So when we created this, we really wanted to make sure that there was almost, you couldn't tell where the cheese ended and the floral started. So this is, I think it's actually, the idea came from Tracy at the Academy of Cheese back in the day. So thank you, Tracy. So we'll try the nose first. So for me, I'm getting really creamy, buttery notes, and then afterwards, the elderflower almost starts to come through. Sort of, it's quite subtle. Let's try a bit towards the middle. So this is a bit more creamy, but it's quite sort of fruity, and then you get the like lemony citric kind of element, and then the floral notes coming through. So I forgot to mention the pairings for the other two, but for this, it's incredible with a sort of a light sparkling wine, or I really like it with a gin and tonic. So it's a great kind of summer cheese. It's a really nice different one to add to a cheese board that, you know, is a bit of a conversation speaker. Some people love it, some people not so much of a fan. There's someone that comes into our shop that loves buying it and puts it in mashed potatoes, so it's a nice way to kind of bring a bit of summer to your autumn mash. Just to go back on what you can do with the double Deventure, so because that's a younger cheese, so it's only 6 months old, it's really good at melting, so it's great to add it to burgers or grated on top of pizza. It works really well. Right, so we will head over to our goats. So this is a hard goat. We make it the same way that we make our cheddar, but we use locally sourced goat's milk. So that's from the lovely Lucy over in Budleigh Salterton, which is just 15 miles away from us in East Devon. So it's a really, really incredible milk that she supplies, and it means that we can get a great consistent flavour throughout the year. So for those who aren't a real fan of goats, I really would recommend trying this. When we talk to customers and we're at shows, there's always someone who tries it who's like, I'm not a fan of goats, but tries this and they love it. So I really would recommend it. I agree, it's one of my favourite. So again, it's got the natural rind, so don't worry if there's it looks a bit odd. That's all part of the rind and the beauty of it being cloth bound. So if we take a bit from the nose again, give it a smell. So I'm already smelling kind of like buttery brioche notes with this one. Yeah, so I'm getting kind of creamy notes, and then almost sort of like blanched almonds, that kind of nutty flavour coming through. So if we try in the middle. Yep, so for me that's more intense towards the middle. So it's a lot creamier. I'm getting an awful lot of the nutty, but then I'm getting kind of an umami sort of savoury twist towards the end. So it is very, very different to your fresh lactic goat's cheeses, and it doesn't taste sort of super goaty like you know, you find some of those fresh goat cheeses do. So again, I would recommend it. Towards the rind now. So yeah, that's a lot more earthy there. You're still getting the almondy kind of nutty notes, but it's a lot more earthy. So I love adding the goat's rind to risottos. It adds a real depth of flavour to a risotto, and then it's great to grate a little bit of the cheese on top. It's really lovely in summer salads, and it goes great this time of year, kind of approaching Christmas, with like a damson quince. It cuts through the kind of sharpness, and the nutty creaminess really complements well. Plus, how beautiful is that? It looks great on a cheese board. It really does. Right, so hopefully you're all keeping up. We're going to end with the oak smoked. So our oak smoked is 12 months old, so we make it in the same way that we do the cheddar. And at the time when we grade, so when we're grading for the 12-month mature, we also select our extra mature and our vintage, but we select the cheeses that we want to smoke. So they're hand selected to make sure that the flavours don't fight with the smoky flavour. So we want it to be kind of as one. We don't want them fighting together. So we choose a cheese that's maybe plain is not quite the right word, but not quite as stronger caramel or stronger brothy notes as our mature, and we cold smoke them using oak chips from the estate. So we put these in a cold smoker, and these chips just smoulder away and create a really lovely sort of light smoky flavour. And the way we get our consistent sort of smoke is, so it's this cheese, but it's cut up into discs. So it then means that the smoke can penetrate all the way through, and we can kind of get a consistent smoke as much as possible throughout. So you can see with this one, so we've got the smoke here, we've got the natural rind again, and then you can kind of see a slight difference in colour there. That's the edge of where it's been smoked as the disc. So you will get more of an intense smoky flavour here. Right, so cut your wedge, and again, nose to rind. And so at this point, if Mary was doing this, she really likes to do, you hold your nose and then you taste. So you get the kind of creaminess and then you get a hit of smoky flavour. I don't know whether anyone else has done that before, but it's a good a good party piece if you've got a cheese board going on. Yeah, some people do spray smoked flavours on. That is, yeah, check the packet to see, but quite often it is a sprayed on smoke. But yeah, this is all natural, and I think it's really lovely that it's using the oat chips from the estate. So it's all still here on the farm, and we have the smoker here on the farm. So it's yeah, this is particularly lovely, grated as a blend. And put on a pizza. Makes a real nice kind of autumnal pizza flavour. It's great again on a burger, and I really love it with little cherry tomatoes. It complements the two together, are incredible. So yeah, hopefully we do a smoked goats, yeah. So that's made, it's the exact same goats, but then we smoke it like we do the traditional cheddar, the oat smoked. So we chop that up into discs and smoke it, and that's well worth a try. That's my mum's favourite, that one. It's really lovely. Right, so we've come to the end of tasting, so I don't know if anyone's got any more questions. Not so far. Okay, so just want to say thank you ever so much for the Academy of Cheese for putting on this weekend. It's been really fun watching so far everyone's little half hour snippets of cheese. It's been really interesting, and there is another session tomorrow. So you could see Mary Quicke and her daughter Jane. So she's on at 6:30 tomorrow, discussing behind the cloth. So it'll be interesting to see them both. And Jane's tuning in all the way from Canada. The sheep's milk. So we have only a couple of cheeses left. So if you can get it, it's on our online shop. So we've allocated that to the shop, and that's it until we can get some more ewe's milk, I'm afraid. So hopefully we'll be able to get some more ewe's milk and get it made, but unfortunately it's a cheese that takes a while to mature. So that one's 12 months, but it's definitely worth the wait. It's incredible. So if you sign up to our newsletters, then we'll definitely be able to announce when the next one's available. So where are our cheeses stocked? So we stock via wholesalers, so we're really lucky that they then distribute to delis and farm shops around the UK, and we're abroad, so we're in the US, we're in Australia, we're in Germany, Italy, France, so all over. Yeah, it's which is our strongest. So the strongest is our vintage. So vintage is our 24-month-old cheddar. So it's the cheese that we select that has the right flavour, which we call a kind of caramel complex. And it's also got to have the right texture in order to age on, because it's got a whole another year to go before we distribute it. But if you like a strong cheddar, it's worth trying the vintage. It's got a real strong horseradishy note towards the end of the rind. Yeah, we do still make our 1.8 truckles. So we make those in the mature and the goats, and then we do it in our Deventure red as well, which is our take on a red Leicester. So they're really great for Christmas. They're a real showstopper in terms of putting them on your Christmas table, and really lovely gifts. So yeah, still making those. So if you've enjoyed listening and tasting along and you want to learn a little bit more about cheeses, not just our cheeses, then we do actually do the Academy of Cheese courses here on the farm. So Patrick, our UK wholesale manager, he comes down and he does them on the farm, and you get a tour of the farm and you get to see the cheese making in action, and then you get to taste a selection of cheeses, all soft, hard, washed rinds, all sorts. So it's definitely worth having a go at those if you're interested. So we've got a link on the website, and also if you head over to the Academy of Cheese website, you'll be able to see our course there too. Yes, we will be at the World Cheese Awards. Yeah, so that's it's very exciting. It's in Wales this year. Unfortunately, obviously couldn't be in Ukraine. So yeah, we're very pleased that we can all go. So the whole team's going, unfortunately apart from Jane, because she's over in Canada still at the moment, but you'll be able to see myself, Mary, Patrick and Rachel there. So yeah, hopefully there'll be some exciting news and you can come and taste. Right, any more questions? I don't think I touched on the mature, so that's really lovely paired with a fresh kind of apple juice, or Sanford Orchards do an incredible ice cider, so that works really nicely as well. If you're looking for a gift for Christmas, that a bottle of ice cider and a wedge of mature would be a very nice gift. Glad you're all enjoying the live. Great. Okay, I think that's probably it then. So hopefully you've all been able to taste along and you've got some of those cheeses and you've got those flavours, and if not, you haven't been able to taste this time, then you're more than welcome to go online and order a box, and we'll have this saved to our Instagram page. Okay, that's great. Thank you guys. Thanks for tuning in.